Okay, guys, I hope you please follow along. We're gonna take you on this journey, guys. I have a new playlist on Egypt. Egypt is very important. Egypt is very strategic and very important, guys. I'm going to have a playlist where we go over different things. I've already kind of shared with you a little bit on how Egypt is the border to his kingdom. Even the Great Pyramid of Giza bears witness to the Lord in his timetable. Another thing that Egypt is very, very strategic is the Coptic Church. Many of you in the West, most of my audience is from the United States, is not really that familiar with the Coptic Church. Guys, I've always been a church historian, and for me, this is actually the most exciting place to be, because in Egypt you have actually the Apostle Mark, the book of Mark, the Gospel of Mark. The Apostle Mark actually came to Egypt and evangelized Egypt. Okay, so it's very important, very, very strategic. But let's go over a little history, guys. Even to this day, when you see things on the news and you hear about Christians in Egypt being persecuted, it's this church. It is the Coptic Church. And in this presentation, we're going to go over some historic things. There's some many amazing things that have always influenced me. They've influenced the work that you see on this channel. But there's other things that the Lord warned us about, okay? And guys, I don't like really being the religious police and everything. But guys, I do this to teach you, to show you these things so that you can discern. We need to discern. We need to take the Lord's words and discern. So in this, we're gonna I'm gonna have a few other clips in this video it's so difficult. Guys, I thought it was difficult to record footage in Ethiopia. Oh my goodness, Cairo is more difficult. So I'm just here in my hotel room, but I also have some clips and some videos I've done, which are will be later in this piece, which is in the Old Cairo Coptic section. Okay, so when we're saying Coptic, guys, Coptic is actually a language. It's actually a people, and essentially what we have is we have a transition from the religion of like pharaohs and stuff like that to the Apostle Mark coming and bringing the gospel. Around this time, you obviously have the influence of the Roman Empire and the other succeeding empires, because Egypt was just coming underneath everything else. For example, Egypt was under Babylon. We're going to show you a slide presentation. And Babylon had a stronghold, a fort, a tower, significant tower here in Egypt, actually prior to the Babylonian captivity of the Jews. So we're going to look at that. But they actually had their own language and everything, and then they were overcome by the Islamic invasions. Okay, so guys, this is probably the most persecuted church in history, because you have these people being killed up to this day. I mean, from the very beginning, when you go to a museum, it's almost everybody is a martyr. All the saints are martyrs. Everybody was killed for their faith. Okay, so that's where I don't even like criticizing, but I want to show you this. Okay, so I want to show you these people. This is so amazing for me. The history is so exciting. Okay, but let me look at some verses with you here, guys. And let's go to Matthew 13, because this is the reason we're going into this. In Matthew 13, there's a lot of parables. I encourage you to really understand this. But he's talking about the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, and the sower sows the word, and many other verses like this. But the kingdom of heaven is like, where is it? Okay, here we go. Verse 33. Actually, let's go back, because he's talking about seeds. He's talking about the seeds. He said, the kingdom of heaven is like a grain of mustard seed. The man took and sowed in the field, and of all the seeds, it grew. And in verse 33, another parable he spoke unto them, the kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven. Okay? Now, we just had Passover. So let's always remember, in Passover, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to remove all the leaven from your house. Okay? And I think everyone kind of does this. Even Messianic believers do this. But they don't really know what they're doing. And now we know that, in a general sense, it's sin. Okay, so sin is like yeast. Yeast puffs up the bread. Okay, well, that's fine. But what is really going on here? Well, he tells us. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and hid in 3 measures of meal, so the whole was leavened. Now, these 3 measures of meal are what we find in Revelation chapter 6. Okay, he said measure the wheat and measure the barley. The barley was 3 measures. Okay, so this has to do with the harvest. But what is leaven? He said, Lord told the disciples, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Okay? Now, what's the leaven of the Pharisees? Well, it's a woman. Okay, well, what's the woman? The woman is Mystery Babylon. This is talking about Mystery Babylon. Okay? And what happens is the sower, he talks earlier about the sower sows the word, the Son of Man sows the word, but the enemy comes and, throws in other seed, throws in leaven to puff up the unleavened bread. We're supposed to have unleavened bread. We're supposed to rid ourselves from the harlots, Jezebel, all these harlots, okay? But guys, sadly enough, throughout history, it didn't take long. So you have, amazing, in Egypt, you have the Apostle Mark himself coming to Egypt, evangelizing, okay, bringing the gospel. And I don't know all the details of that, but this was known. Now, this is the early church, the persecuted church, right? And they're being killed for their faith by the Romans, just like they were everywhere else, right? But guys, it didn't take long. By the 4th and 5th century, okay, you have the Council of Nicaea in year 325 AD. The church already has this leaven, okay? And they're already worshiping Mary. You'll see in the motif, you'll see in everything we have these people. We have their drawings and paintings are very artistic and very, very amazing. But they're worshiping Mary. Mary isn't like the center of everything, okay? Now the Lord Jesus is there as well, but it's like Mary's there, and she's a disciple, okay? She's a follower of Jesus, just like the rest of us. Now, most of you are Protestants, and so you don't have a big problem with that. But let me tell you, these people are serious, man. These people were, angry with me. These people were persecuting me in Ethiopia, and as well here. These Eastern Orthodox Church. So we're going to show you the leaven, but we also want to talk about the good things, guys. Another thing I want to share with you is that there was a guy. His name was Anthony. Okay, here of course they call him Saint Anthony. They've sainted him, but basically this guy, he was rich. He sold everything he had in Egypt. He said, okay, I'm going to do what Jesus said. I'm going to sell everything I have, give it to the poor, and I'm just going to go into the wilderness. I'm going to go into a cave, and I'm just going to seek God. So essentially, he's in Christianity, he's a monk. Okay, and he's the first to go, and then other people follow him, and there ends up being a community. Now we know this is not the first in the museum and everything. They say, oh, this is the first monastery and all this, but it's really not. This goes way, way back. We know this happened in the Dead Sea Scrolls, but this was Judaism, and now we have Christianity. Now, guys, many of you may not realize this, but this work I'm doing, is a service to the Lord. If I had my way, I would do the same thing as Andy. I would get away from the people. I would go into a cave and just worship the Lord. If you've followed this channel through the years, I have many, many videos, but a few times I've said this, okay? I would do this, but I would never go into these horrible religious systems of these monasteries. These are terrible things. But I do believe that there's a principle here that we can learn. Now, that being said, these people spent a lot of time in the scriptures. They were great scribes, and now let's take a look, guys. And I'm going to do a slide presentation. Okay. I wish I were more high tech and I had a laptop and some other things, but I'm just going to work with what I have. So please, no complaining. This is the best of what we have. So I'm going to use this. We're going to go through the slide presentation, and I'm going to show you the amazing Coptic Museum. If you ever come to Egypt, definitely go and see this. Definitely check it out. Okay, here's our first thing I wanted to show you. And if you may observe here a familiar theme. Actually, let me just change the shade. Make it darker. Okay. Hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, so here we have a treasury. This is amazing. I've been telling you guys about the shekel of the sanctuary, and I found this treasury. It talks about it a little bit here. Treasury was discovered in a monastery, and there's different ones, okay? They give you the years, and guys, Egypt is amazing because it preserves things very, very well. Obviously, coins can be preserved, but we're going to see that everything that these people did is a record of their faith, a record of their lives, a record of everything. Okay, very, very amazing. Okay, now this is Saint George, and guys, this is one of those things that I found in Ethiopia too. I don't even think this guy exists. I think he's just a figment of imagination. Really. Okay, here we have some garments. Now, I'm going to go over a few things here, guys. Oops. All right, that is better. Okay, I'm going to go over a few things here, guys, and how we, as believers, we go astray. Now, how we go astray is by money. It's very simple. And so when we start adorning ourselves as kings on the earth, or, giving ourselves titles and everything, guys, the same problems we have in our day with the prosperity gospel, the same things, it's not necessarily like prosperity, but, the leaders start adorning themselves with things, with gold and all kinds of stuff. And then it's not long before we're apostate. Now, this is cool. These are some shoes that they have. And again, Egypt preserves things so well that, we can even see their ornate shoes and slippers. These are things in like the 4th and 5th century, guys. Really old. Amazing. Here we go. So here we have Mary holding the baby Jesus. Now, guys, this is, if you don't understand paganism, this is Christian paganism. In all paganism, you have Semiramis, Isis, whatever you want to call it. You always have this woman holding a baby. All right? And this symbol goes back to the mystery religion. This is Mystery Babylon. So already this is incorporated into the church in the 3rd and 4th century. Okay, many, many cool things here. I'm going to go through kind of quickly all this. This is cool. This is Adam and Eve before the fall. They're naked and they're not ashamed, and then they're covering themselves with fig leaves. Okay, here we go. This is another good photo of. I'm not sure exactly who this is, but these are like the leaders and the bishops or whatever. And look they're making themselves crowns and stuff. So when this starts happening, it looks great. It's great in a museum and art forms, but this is not good, guys. When we start doing this stuff, we go astray. All right, and again, we have Mary in the center. Okay, and this is a common thing. So you can see in this one, they always have 12. You have the 12 apostles, but in the center is Mary. All right, man, it's always Mary and Mary holding the baby. This is the same symbolism that you see in the mystery religions. And here's a staff with 2 dragons. You know, there's just all kinds of weird things that we do, okay? We do these things, okay? And this is ivory. I mean, they're beautiful things, but we shouldn't be doing this stuff, guys. We should live humbly and not draw attention to ourselves. All right, this is something I want you to see. Now, one of the things that's amazing for me as a scribe about the Coptics is their ability to record things, okay? And you can see what this is called. This is called the Nag Hammadi Library. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically what you have is, remember I was telling you about the leaven? Well, it says here, look, the Coptic manuscripts that make up the library represent a primary source for the study of Gnosticism. Now, if you know what Gnosticism is the fake, Christianity, fake beliefs. It's a philosophy. Okay, even in the Apostle John was speaking against Gnosticism in his epistles. So what you have here, guys, is this is the library for all the false books, like the Gospel of Thomas and some others. They were found in this library, okay? Now, these people were Gnostics. They actually rejected that Jesus was a person. They just thought he was like a mystical figure or spirit. And I'm not going to do a whole discourse on it, but what I'm getting at is this is the leaven, okay? Jesus said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Okay, we've got to beware of leaven. It's Mystery Babylon. I'm going all this to show you Mystery Babylon even affected the church this far back, okay? So we have Gnosticism, even at the time the Apostle John is alive. He's talking about this. And so we have to discern. There's good stuff here, guys. We don't want to just throw everything out. There's good stuff. There's good record keeping. And it's hard for me to tell what this is, but this is similar to Coptic and Greek. For us not really knowing the difference, they look very similar. So they did great record keeping and writing and scribes and beautiful, beautiful things with the Gospels. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about this. Okay, this is an old Babylonian tower and fort. It's actually still, some of it is, you can see it's still standing. And this is Cairo right here. This is what it looks. This is their construction, apartments, and everything. And let me get some more photos of that. Okay, this is the museum. It's very, very beautiful. I'm gonna jump to this tower, guys. I want to talk a little bit about this because this is St. George. Okay, this is St. Mary. But okay, here's some more shots of this tower. Now you can see parts of it are, rebuilt. This is old. I mean, this tower is like 600 BC. That's before Christ. Okay, and not all of this is like that. But what I'm pointing out is that where are my photos of it? Okay, here's some more of it here. Okay, and again, it was like a big round tower that went up, but it was also a fort and structure. And you can see that throughout this. Okay, here's the one I want to show you. All right, so below is in the foundation of this. Okay, let me use this finger so you can, not blocking you. You can see the foundation is this tower. Now, guys, this tower is Babylon. So what happened is they built this church on top of the structure of Babylon. Now, this is many centuries later. This is, the Apostle Mark didn't do this. But this is what I'm getting at. So it's a belief system. They're building a belief system off Babylon, Mystery Babylon. Here we actually have a structure from Babylon, from like Nebuchadnezzar himself. And many, many years later, maybe 1,000 years later, you have this. You have the church building on the foundation of Babylon, literally building on a structure and supposedly worshiping God on a structure that was built by like
the Antichrist, Nebuchadnezzar. But there's good things, I like this one. I want to show you this. He called my son out of Egypt. Remember, they believe that they know everywhere the Lord Jesus went in Egypt. And, there's all kinds of stuff like that. If you've ever been to Israel, it's stuff like, kind of legends and stuff like that. But anyway, let's go back. I want to show you a lot of this stuff. This is the stuff I want to show you. Okay, now this I actually like. Now, there's some things here that that are a little strange. So, for example, the halos, guys. This is another kind of ancient form of depicting, something that also is, it's pagan. Okay, there's no way to put around it. But this is one of the, if we were to take that halo out, this is one of the better pictures of Jesus that I've been able to find. I really like this one. And okay, this is a good example of what they do. Again, we have Mary and the baby. We have Jesus, and you typically have saints and angels all around. Again, Mary, baby, and saints and or angels depicted. More saints. Now these are cool. These guys, they call them martyr saints, and they're riding on horses. And that's our day. This is our day. This is the day, guys. So a lot of amazing art. Love these things. If you like these things, guys, pause the video and just look at it. They're really beautiful. Now this one I want to show you. I also really like this. Okay, what we have here, again, we have the Lord Jesus seated on the throne. We have the Gospels, 4 Gospels, okay? And we have the lion right here. We have the ox, we have the man, and we have the eagle. So guys, in the early church, the concept of lion, ox, man, eagle, they knew about this, okay? They knew about this, and they drew this in their motifs, okay? Then we have 2 other angels, either Michael and Gabriel, on the side. So I like this one, and I want to share it with you because I just want you to know that there were things that the early church knew about. Lion, ox, man, eagle, the structure of the cherubim and the throne. They knew about these things. So I'm talking about these things, and a lot of you have never heard of it before, but the early church knew this. Now this is one, okay, so this is the same photo up top, which I just showed you. And then we have 6 and 6. So these would be the 12 apostles. All that is great, but then we just got to take out this. We have Mary holding the baby, and then, that's the problem, okay? This is the problem. Guys, in the Old Testament, it was called the Queen of Heaven, and the Lord rebuked the Jews for worshiping the Queen of Heaven, offering incense. Well, the early Christians did the same thing, okay? And now these are great believers, guys. We have here, depicted the 12 apostles, and one of the 12 apostles, the apostle Mark himself, evangelized Egypt. That's amazing. Okay, so we have 6 and 6, but then we have, it's not long before this leaven that the Lord warned us about started to influence us. So guys, we've got to get the leaven out. Now this is the transition. So what happened is, this is the transition from like pharaohs to Christianity. Okay, here's some more of the fort, and you can see the broken pieces and stuff like that. But they're building it. Okay. So so let's see. What else do we have here? We have a lot of stuff. They were amazing people. I love, how they would express their faith through art and everything else. It's just that, and again, these are more saints. All these people were killed for their faith. So, I have a hard time. I don't want to say negative things. Here's Saint Barbara. She was killed for her faith. She became a Christian and was killed. This is the Saint George. I don't know if he exists, guys. So now this one I want to show you. I believe one of these is Saint Anthony. He became very old, and he, was the first to, just sell all he had, live as a monk, And like I said, I wish someday I could do the same. So there's a lot of stuff here. It's very, very amazing things. This is an actual person. This one you can see. Saint Nicholas, one of the most popular saints in Eastern and Western Christendom. Okay, and it talks about him in Turkey. Okay, so this is where they changed to Santa Claus. Santa Claus is Baal. So you don't want to celebrate Christmas or Easter. These are all the false Babylonian mystery religion things. Okay, but they were actual people. Just beautiful, beautiful things, guys. Look at all this. These are lamps. Look at that, beautiful lamps. Incense burners. But what are we burning incense to, guys? Incense is our prayers. Incense is our worship. These are all beautiful things, but what are we worshiping? Satan came in and shifted the worship to get us to worship the Queen of Heaven. All the way back in the, 1,500 years ago. Oh, it's so sad, so heartbreaking. Beautiful jewelry, beautiful keys. These are keys. Big, big keys to open doors. Glory to God. So beautiful, ornate things, as you can see. I just want to go through here and let me just see if I forget anything. Okay, these are other things. These are kind of Babylonish as well. They put these things on staffs, and in Ethiopia they have the same things. And the priests would just walk in the street, and the people would bow to the priests and kiss this thing. So these are all pagan things that we've gone astray and forsaken the Lord. Look, they made their own throne. It's so sad. There's a lot of things here. It's a beautiful museum. I encourage you to, if you do come to Cairo, definitely check it out. But guys, we're going to have a couple other videos in this. We're talking about the... Okay, guys, now I'm here in a Coptic church, and I wanted to share with you some things. These are a series of videos I'm going to do. I'll also try to narrate and show you some things here, guys, on the prophetic significance of the Coptic church. I'll go into more history and detail later, but what I want to do is be here on site. Be here at these doors. You can see there's steps. And this is the door to the house, if you will. Now, what I want to do in this quick segment is to talk to you about the spirit of wisdom. The woman clothed with the sun in Revelation 12 is the spirit of wisdom. And she has some rebukes for us of what to do, of warnings, okay? And I want to declare these to you. Proverbs 8. Now therefore hearken unto me, O you children. Now this is wisdom speaking. Wisdom is speaking to her children. Wisdom has birthed the child and she's raising up the child, okay? For blessed are they that keep my ways, hear my instruction, and be wise. Refuse it not. Blessed is the man that hears me, watching daily at my gates. Okay, so here we have a door, and we're doing this in a place where they worship Mary, essentially. Okay, just adjust that just a little. Okay, so at her gates, at her doors. Okay, and I'll show you other things waiting at the posts of my doors. And again, we're at the doors. Okay, and guys, what happened is the church became apostate and started worshiping the woman clothed with the sun, or shifting from the focus of Jesus Christ, the Lord Jesus Christ, to a woman. Okay, now this shift is none other than Mystery Babylon. Okay, Mystery Babylon gets people to worship this woman, this goddess. Okay, and that's what many of you are Protestant, so you're like, yeah, but keep in mind this has always been a problem, right? Now, let's listen closely to wisdom. She's actually a person. She is an angel, and she's warning us, okay? For whosoever finds me finds life. He shall obtain favor with the Lord. But he that sins against me and wrongs his own soul, all that hate me love death.
Now this admonition here, exactly what happens in the book of Proverbs, you guys, you have the woman clothed with the sun and Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon is called a strange one, okay? So that's what the admonition is there, okay? But let's listen to more to this admonition. We can find this throughout Proverbs. That was Proverbs chapter 8. Now, we'll go back to Proverbs chapter 8 in a second, but we also have Proverbs chapter 1. Proverbs chapter 1, this is the warning, guys. This is the one we really have to pay attention to. Wisdom cries without. She utters her voice in the streets. Okay, you can even see we're in the streets here. We're in wisdom streets, doing this here, guys. Okay, I'm going to read this again. I'm not sure how well reading Proverbs 1 was in that last piece, in that last segment, because I want to read this again. It's very important. Wisdom cries without. She utters her voice in the streets. She cries in the chief places of the concourse, in the opening of the gates. In the city she utters her words, saying, How long will you simple ones? Will you love simplicity? And scorners delight in scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I pour out my spirit upon you, and she is, we'll see, one of the 7 spirits of God. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and you have refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But you have set at naught my counsel, and would have none of my reproof. I will also laugh at your calamity, and mock when fear comes. When fear comes as desolation. Your destruction comes as a whirlwind. When distress and anguish comes upon you, then you shall call upon me, and I will not answer. Then you will seek me early, and they will not find me. For that they hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel, and despised my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For turning away of the simple they shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whosoever hearkens unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Guys, that's Proverbs chapter 1. In Proverbs chapter 8, wisdom, there's a spirit of wisdom. The spirit of wisdom is the woman clothed with the sun. Okay? The way that, the church has got this wrong is by attributing the woman clothed with sun to Mary and begin worshiping Mary. We should not worship wisdom. We should not worship any female goddess. But she is a real person. And if we take the information in Proverbs chapter 8, we can find the 7 spirits of God. Okay? And wisdom dwells with prudence. Okay? And one of the 7 spirits of God, I believe it's the 5th one, is wisdom. And finds out knowledge of discretion. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil. Pride, arrogancy, the evil way, and the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have might. And these are the 7 spirits of God. Let's go over them. Number 1 is the 5th spirit is wisdom. Number 7 is knowledge. Number 1 is the fear of the Lord. Number 6 is counsel. And number 3 is understanding. The last of the 7 is the spirit of might. We're getting this from Proverbs chapter 8. But we find those 7 spirits listed in Isaiah 11. And okay, guys, just to conclude here, if you haven't seen it, please watch the other video on the 7 spirits of God. What we're talking about is where it's mentioned that many times in Revelation, and basically they're lights on the menorah. And just to explain what it is in the orientation and order, I was describing before, we have the fear of the Lord, the spirit of the fear of the Lord, the spirit of might, the spirit of understanding, the spirit of the Lord, Yod He
Vav-He, Yahweh, spirit of wisdom, spirit of counsel, spirit of knowledge. So guys, what we're saying is there is actually a spirit of wisdom. Spirit of wisdom is the woman clothed with the sun, is the woman in Proverbs. Okay. But what's happened, what we're describing to you is that a counterfeit has taken place where Mystery Babylon has infused herself into the church by the worship of Mary. Okay, so we're saying that there is an actual person, the spirit of wisdom. Okay, it's part of the seven spirits of God. But we do not worship wisdom. We do not worship. We only worship Yod-Heh-Vav. We only worship the Lord. Okay, so that's what we're explaining in this message, guys. And again, if you're not familiar with this, please watch Seven Spirits of God. I'll have a link in the description field. I'll also have these notes available for you. So guys, Coptic Church is very, very amazing. Thanks for watching. And we'll have more on this series on Egypt. We have a lot of things, guys, coming up. We're going to prove the Bible. The Bible is true, okay? The Jews were in Egypt, all right? So, guys, thanks for watching. And again, as I always say, watch and pray. They be counted worthy to escape all these things. In Jesus Christos' name.